Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So before I get going into the review for this week, I want to take a minute and say thank you to the people who have been subscribing and helping my channel grow. The YouTube channel has been a little slow, but thank you to those who have subscribed, and if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe so I can keep it up. And if you like what I'm doing, it's a great way to support a small growing channel. So please give this video a thumbs up and then hit the subscribe button so you can see all of my other reviews. So over the last week, when I was thinking about what I wanted to review for this week, I realized that I hadn't done a fountain pen for a while. I don't know the exact time since I've done the last fountain pen review, but it's been a couple of weeks. And I thought it was odd because fountain pens are really what got me into doing this channel, the whole thing that got me going on this. I had a small collection of them. Not super nice ones, but some pretty common ones, and I thought it was odd that I hadn't done one for a while. So I'd been using the Sheaffer VFM for a little while. It's one of the ones I bought around Christmas time and have been using since then. So I figured it would be a good thing to get me back into reviewing fountain pens. So here we go. So the VFM line as a whole, they make fountain pens, and I believe mechanical pencils. I'd have to double check that one. But the VFM stands for Vibrant, Fun, and Modern. Can't really say that the steel one that I have here is super modern, but or super vibrant. Sorry, it's strobe silver, but it does have somewhat of a modern look. It's very similar to the Pilot Metropolitan. So I mean, side by side, you can see just how similar they are. They're almost the same length, but as far as width goes, the Metropolitan is a little bit wider. In the pen world, that width isn't very much. It's often a couple of millimeters, if not very few, or just a few. But I do like the Pilot Metropolitan a little bit better in terms of how wide it is. I have big hands, and it doesn't seem to grip very well with the Sheaffer VFM. It's very, very thin. So like I said, I bought this a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't realize how small it would be. It's definitely one of my thinnest fountain pens, and that was one of the things that didn't appeal to me right off the bat. So if you don't like small pens, this might not be a good one to get for you. So when I first got it, one of the things that I didn't research very well was the type of refill that it takes, or type of cartridge that it takes. I was really hoping that I could order just like a couple of Jinhao fountain pen converters, but then I soon found out that I'm glad I didn't order them. I mean, they're only a couple of bucks, but I found out pretty quick that this pen will not take an international converter, because you can see right there it doesn't go far enough into the body that it would work. So you need a short version, a short international version. So Kaweco makes one that you can use, the one that are used in the Kaweco Sports, or you can get, I forgot the exact name of the other one, but it's in the blog post, and I don't have that pulled up right now. But there are some short versions of these that you can get. So that'll work with it. I didn't invest in one of them. There's one on Jet Pens for about $2.50. So I'm a little all over the place. I'm trying to find that name of it, but I can't find it. So I've been using some ink cartridges that I got with my Nemesine pens for a while. So they don't have a brand name on them. They don't have any kind of markings. When I bought my Nemesine pens, I bought it from a third-party seller on Amazon, I think from Philadelphia, and they sent like 20 or 30 of these with the pen. And I never used them in the Nemesines because they came with a converter. But I found out pretty quick that these will work in the Sheaffer pens. And like I said, I don't know the brand name of the ink, but they seem to work pretty well with it. They seem to feather a little bit, but outside of that, it does work pretty well. Alrighty, so let's get into like what makes this pen, what I like and what I don't like about it. So right off the bat, like I said, it's very, very small, super thin, and I didn't like that very much. It's a matte or a satin finish. One of the reviews I was reading said that it's kind of like the paint that you see on a hot rod. It's got some layers to it, and it's a pretty nice finish for a really cheap pen. Because if you're looking at the Metropolitan, which is a very similar price point, The Metropolitan is actually a little bit cheaper. The finish on the Sheaffer is a little bit nicer. And just a Lamy Safari for comparison. And this is one of the Nemesine pens that I'm referring to. So it does have a very good finish on it, and it is about the same length as all the other ones. But again, it's the thinness that gets to me. The clip on this has also been exceptionally annoying lately. So if I'm pulling at it, let's see if I can't even get it to come off the body very well at all. So there we go, it's coming a little bit, but it takes quite a bit of force to pull it off. So nice thing about that is that it's not going to go anywhere. When you put it in a pen loop, let's say you have one of those self-adhesive ones that goes on these journals, but it has started to fray my pen loop, and that's kind of annoying. It's just really hard to get in there, really hard to slide in and slide out. So I haven't enjoyed that very much. I also don't like that I can't use the international cartridge converter in it. So let's go into some of the designs on the pen. So let's see if I can get it to zoom in on the nib. So you can see here, the nib is very, very simple. It really just says Sheaffer and the size of the nib on it. So I have a fine nib on this one, which tends to be my preference. I have to say, this one does seem to write somewhat well and somewhat consistently. So I haven't had too much of a problem with hard starts, even after leaving it for a while in my Padfolio or just not using it for even up to a week. So let me do a little writing sample for you guys. Let me start off with the cheap papers first, actually. One of the things that I like to do, and I'm going to cover it again since I haven't done a fountain pen for a while, pens at this price point, I'm assuming, are going to be bought by people who don't have a lot of disposable income to be able to buy like the nice notebooks, like the Rhodias, the Leustrums, or anything like that. So I like coming up with or using it on the cheap papers. So this first one right here is just some no-brand loose leaf paper that I got at Walmart back, I think it was in high school actually, maybe in college. But I always spell Sheaffer wrong. So let's make sure I don't spell it wrong. So you can see, let me zoom in on that a little bit for you. Even on the cheap paper, this ink does seem to write pretty well, and the pen itself writes pretty well. Little bit of a hard start at the beginning, but the ink started flowing pretty well. This is just, I think it's a Mead notebook. So let's see how it goes on that. I'm writing a little awkwardly, so this isn't my best handwriting. Again, you don't see a lot of feathering. The ink dries fairly quickly. You can see a little bit on the VFM that it's smudging a little bit. And then lastly, I've got a composition book that, let me zoom out so you can get a good view of it. These are just the ones that I got them at Walmart. When school's coming around, you can usually get them for about 50 cents. Oh look, that's where I did the Jinhao one. So let's do it right next to it. So you can see this pen with this ink combo does seem to write pretty well on some pretty cheap paper. Like I said, this is like 50 cents per notebook. And just because I have it, this is one of the journals that I use for work. It's, I don't know exactly how you say the name, but it's IBAM, IBAYAM. I got it on Amazon for a pretty good deal. I think it was like $7 or something like that. But it's 120 GSM paper, and I've liked it a lot. Does well on that one. These ones don't tend to dry as quickly, so you can see it's smudging pretty good right there. And just for the sake of doing it, I've got another journal. This is the one that I use mainly for my blog, just to keep everything in it. And so I have everything separated out, and this is where I did those ones as well. So, oop, I moved the camera. Sorry about that. So again, it writes well on a variety of papers. So the nib itself is steel, and one of the downsides, one of the things that I haven't liked about it is it's somewhat scratchy, when you get over into, I don't have this inked up, but another German pen, the Lamy, I think Sheaffer's German. Please comment below if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure. But it's not very scratchy at all on a variety of papers. Or even the Twisby, I think that's how you say it, has a much, much smaller nib, but not scratchy at all. This one, I don't know if it's just a bad quality nib or what, but it's very, very scratchy. So overall, let me zoom out so we can do the overall. There are some things that I liked about this pen. It writes fairly consistently. It does well on a variety of papers. Doesn't seem to feather too much. Occasionally it feathers depending on the paper that I'm using. But it's just very, very small, very, very light. And I just haven't been that big of a fan of it. The grip is very, very thin. The grip comes around to about 9 millimeters at the max, and the pen itself is about 10 millimeters around. So it's super, super thin. I don't remember what the Pilot Metropolitan was, but that seems to be a little bit of a better size for me if I'm going for a pen like that. Oh, sorry, I did that. I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry about that. It comes out to be about 0.45 inches wide, and I don't have the conversion of that for the for the centimeters. That would probably be about probably 12 centimeters is how. That seems a bit wide, so I can't do the math right now in my head, and of course I can't do it on camera, right? Alrighty guys, well thank you for watching this review. I hope you guys have liked it. Please comment below. Tell me what you think about this pen if you've used it. I think it's a good introduction to the Sheaffer line. It's fairly cheap price point, and you know it's a decent pen. But if you're going for a pen about that price, I would recommend the Metropolitan over it. Compared to this one, the Metropolitan, I've used 3 of them. I have one, my wife has 2, and it just is a better quality pen for a little bit cheaper. Whereas this one has a scratchy nib, pretty thin, doesn't weigh very much, and it's a little bit more expensive. Alrighty guys, well thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.